Hey everybody, what's it, Fox Gaming here. So today I wanted to bring you a PvP build that's designed to be a foundation for all of your future builds. It's a very easy to farm build that incorporates both high survivability and high weapon damage, and it's a great place to start if you're looking to get back into PvP content as of TU11. This performs incredibly well in the Dark Zone and also very well in the in conflicts, and I do use this pretty much all of the time. But I realised that actually this build is just super easy to farm for and put together. So yeah, it's just a great place to start if you are looking to get into conflict. And if you're an experienced player that's come back with TU11, or you're just not too comfortable with the current meta, shotguns and so on, this build performs as well as those builds. But yeah, it just has the luxury of being very good in conflict, Dark Zone, and being easy to farm for. So I'll leave a timestamp in the description for the conflict gameplay that we're going to load into after the build description. By all means, screenshot the build if you want now. I'll quickly go through why I've chosen the pieces I have and where the strengths and weaknesses of this build are, and then we'll load into that game. Starting from the top, we are still using Firewall, even though they've reduced or removed the burn on armor break. That wasn't the reason that I used it anyway. It's very good because it gives you, or your team should I say, a 10% weapon damage buff to any enemy that you are within 10 meters of. Within the current meta as shotguns and SMGs, that's going to basically be all of the time. It also gives us the best armor kit in game for PvP content, 200% armor and health over 10 seconds. So Firewall is absolutely my top choice here, but by no means a necessity if you don't want to run it. We're still using Lady Death because it is still the best SMG in the game for bursting people down. Shotguns are performing as well as Lady D at the moment, but yeah, the reason I like this is it gives us a couple of unique buffs, being an exotic and being an SMG. It comes with very high crit chance, which means we can focus a large part of our build on crit damage to really fill in that DPS potential loss from 4 blues. 50% is the new multiplicative damage stat that you get from this just for running around, and then you still get the 20% movement speed boost, which I really like for just closing to the next kill or for getting out of the fight if needed. It's just a very, very powerful weapon. Very easy to farm for. This drops in both the light zone and the dark zone. Anywhere in game, just look for SMG targeted loot and you'll get one of these if you run with a team in no time at all. Our mask is the Coyotes because for close range builds this is still the single best in slot if you're running a crit chance crit dam build. As a 0 to 15 meters range, it gives 25% critical hit damage not only to me but my entire team. So if everybody's at 60%, this is lethal on an SMG or shotgun build, and 100% you need to be incorporating this in your builds. The next best thing is a second Sokolov or Grupo, which is only 15%. Again, this can now be farmed anywhere in the game, light zone or dark zone. Just look for mass targeted loot, or you can phone the Coyote boss at the end of her respective mission. Our chest piece is a Sokolov because we are running an SMG, and this has got crit dam and weapon handling. As I've already hit the crit chance cap just from the Lady Death alone, I was able to use this chest and still be at cap. You want to be using Intimidate here, whether you use SMGs or shotguns, as they give you a 35% multiplicative weapon damage buff just for being in 10 meters of an enemy whilst you have bonus armor. We're running 2 pieces of Golem, so this gives us 1% armor regen. The status effects isn't really used on this build, but it's always there if you do have different grenades or different skills. Again, like my other pieces, you want to try and get this roll to critical hit chance and critical hit damage as your minor attributes. The second piece of Golem for that initial 1% armor regen is my gloves, which as you can see are rolled very similarly. Not as good a roll as the holster, but it will do. The backpack, we are using a Bellstone backpack. This was introduced in TU11, and the same as the Lady Death, the Coyotes, the Sokolov and the Golem. This can all be farmed light zone or dark zone just by going to the targeted loot. Mine rolled with crit dam and headshot with armor, which I'm really happy with, and then I've got Adrenaline Rush rolled onto there, which is absolutely the talent that you want to be using with this build. That's where you're going to get your bonus armor to get your your Intimidate damage buff kicked in. The final piece of the build, which is probably the hardest to farm for, but not difficult, it's just harder, are the named Murakami knees, the Emperor's Guard. These give us 20% skill duration, which is very useful for a lot of skills that you want to be running with this build. I'll show you the best ones in slot in just a second, but it gives us our 1% armor regen. So in conjunction with the 2 piece of Golem, which gives us 1%, and the 1 piece of Bellstone, which gives us 1%, we are now set at 3% armor regen on this build. Try and get these to roll with crit chance or damage if you can, but if you can't, don't worry, just roll them to armor anyway, and then fill in your crit chance via your mods if you haven't quite hit it yet. You want to run this as 4 blue and 2 reds. 4 blue is very powerful in the dark zone, although I think a more common version is 3-3. But the point of this build is just to be an entry level build that's easy to farm for, to get you into PvP or get you back into PvP. Or just start with TU11, I suppose, that can compete with the current meta. And I feel that 4 blue is the best way to run this, more so for the dark zone than conflict. But don't forget that because we are using bonus armor that gives us 20%, that's 20% of your total armor. So the more total armor, the bigger the adrenaline rush proc, the longer it's going to last, and therefore the longer you have the bonus damage. So it does make sense to have the 4 blue. And yeah, of course, the other benefit of the 4 blue is because we are running 3% armor regen, it's the same basic principle. The more base armor you have, the higher your overall armor regen will be. The skills that you want to use, now this part is more up to you. My personal favourites are the Striker Shield with Firewall, because this gives us, if you have a look just in the middle there, 12% bonus armor. Excuse me, bonus damage when within 10 meters. Now, shields have been nerfed quite significantly in PvP. They break very quickly, so you want to bring this out in the middle of a fight, whereas before you used to bring it out at the start. That way they should be reloading pretty soon, which means your shield will last longer and take the damage instead of you, but it also means that you're going to get that 12% damage bonus for longer. The way that you achieve that is by having at least 1 blue on your build, by using the 1% mod in the top left, the 5% in the bottom left, and then I would spec to active regen, the firewall exclusive mod on the right hand side there. You know, if you, shield health is just pointless in PvP because it gives you nothing, that mod, so active regen is, you know, not much better, but it's better than nothing. For conflict, you want to run the booster hive, as we have no Has Pro on this build, so it just cleanses all hazards regardless of the skill level of the hive, and then gives you a 5-second duration in which you are resistant to hazard 20% from base level, and that can be increased with mods, and it also gives you 20% weapon handling. That means that your Lady Death will reload 20% faster and have 20% better accuracy and stability, so this is a really good skill. If you're in the dark zone, you may want to consider running with a decoy instead, but the advantage of both of those skills, apart from the fact they are both top tier in PvP, is that the Emperor's Guard 20% skill duration buffs both of them. They simply last longer, and having a decoy in the floor for longer is fantastic. For the most part, I might actually run with a decoy and a booster as both of my skills, but I still like the shield for just that quick get out of jail free card to take a few hits whilst giving me that simultaneous damage. So that's the build there. I'll quickly show you my stats and then we'll load into that game. I'm currently sat at 60% chance, 144.1 critical hit damage. Whoops. And then 42k, I think. Yeah, 42k armor regen. Now the good news with the crit dam is don't forget to add 25% on that from coyotes. So that's actually going to be close to 170% critical damage, with 60% chance on a build that has 4 blues and 3% armor regen. That in conjunction with the 35% multiplicative damage from Intimidate and the 50% multiplicative damage from Lady Death, and of course the 12% you get from your shield, all equates to pretty substantial amounts of damage whilst having 4 blues, the survivability of a booster or decoy with your shield, and the 3% armor regen is why I think this build is the best build to get yourself started with when coming back to PvP. It just has all of the best parts of, you know, the respective builds. So it's very tanky, like a full-on armor regen tank build, but it also has a lot of stacked weapon damage from a raw DPS build. And you know, combining those two facts with the fact that it's very easy to farm for as well, and that's kind of why I'm happy to sort of label this build accordingly when getting this out to you guys today. I do genuinely believe that it is a fantastic build to get you all started with, and there aren't really any changes at all that I personally would make to it. However, if you are running different builds or different versions of this, you just come back to TU11, you found another build that was also easy to farm for, work better, please do let me know in the comments and I'll have a look at that build and potentially make that as well. Oh, we're going domination. Ugh. I'm guessing that's not a real build. He's probably just putting that on there to bamboozle us. Oh, someone's got the old hunters on. I saw that. Now, to be fair, hunters is really easy to farm for as well. And if you go with Intimidate, Adrenaline Rush with hunters and a shotgun or SMG, that does a lot of damage. But where it lacks, yes, it is top tier, but where it lacks is the survivability. You only get anything back with armor on kill, and I've never been a fan of armor on kill in the in Dark Zone or in Conflict, because you only get your health after you've already got the kill, which to me is pointless. Armor regen, in my opinion, is better, and whilst Hunter's Fury definitely does more damage overall, it definitely lacks survivability in PvP versus PvE, where its survivability is quite high because it's easy just to melt a bunch of red bars. So just bear that in mind. Hunter's Fury is very strong, but the point of this video is just to be an entry-level build before you start looking at maybe more damage-centric builds or more tank-centric builds. So it's a bit of a jack of all trades. It means that it's not top tier in either department, but to be fair, specifically the way that I have built it, it's actually pretty close in both areas. So
capture and hold the points to win this.
Right, let's go murder some dudes. Time to get my murder on.
The objectives will soon be ready.
So we are playing domination. Hopefully one person has stayed back. No, they haven't, so I'll go do that now. Not a fan of domination. It lasts too long and too many people use cheese, but never mind.
The domination points are ready to be captured.
So let's see if we can get into a fight and get this 3% armor regen, just carry me through it. It's definitely not like enough to face tank, but I mean it's just more free armor, and when you're around the corner and so on, you can just gain so much back in such a small window.
Rogue assault turret detected.
Point Bravo is being held by your squad.
Right, that's 2 points captured. I get some kills now.
Seeker mine detected. Rogue hive detected.
Can we capture this entire? That's the real question.
Charlie is now held
I should
by
really
your
be helping
team.
my team out here, to be fair. They are definitely in the middle of a fight right now. Oh, I'm getting shot in the back. No! Wow, these guys are getting bullied.
Immediate medical assistance.
Oh, I
needed.
got around the corner. Oh, I guess he would have just that. No, don't res me there. Don't res me there. Dude. Ah, that's going to kill me. That's if he got away with that.
An agent needs assistance.
I've disrupted. No.
Boost about to activate.
Gonna mail him to death.
Serious trauma.
Ah, they will spawn here again. Why do they all spawn here again?
Agent out of action.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, when you're red shielded inside their spawn, you take a lot more damage and you deal a lot less damage. So it's never a smart play, but we do seem to be absolutely decimating this team. So I was hoping the armor regen would be enough to get me through, and it nearly was. But all that reduced damage from being red shielded, just I couldn't quite close the kill. Of course, Lady Death does come with 500% melee damage, so if they're in health, you usually can one-shot them with a 3 or 4 blue build.
The enemy is about
As long as it
to pull
crits,
out.
that is.
You're too
'Cause it does
strong
have
for
the capability to crit,
Charlie
which
in
is kind of
enemy
weird,
hands.
but we'll take it.
Allies are acquiring the
Ooh,
boost.
armor. Armor is great in conflict because it just gives you a permanent intimidate proc.
The boost has been taken by allies. Rogue explosive seeker mine.
Oh, hello, buddy.
An agent needs assistance. Rogue assault turret detected.
Nice.
Point Charlie is being held by your squad.
Well, we have all 3
Holding
points. They're
all
probably going to be
3
spawning into the
control
end now.
points.
Oh, they're on B.
Excellent.
Interesting.
Point Bravo is in enemy hands.
Yeah, this build still melts.
Point Alpha is in enemy hands. Point Bravo was captured by your team.
Push to the right here. 3 of them there, so they should be fine. So I do a bit of a dirty flank. That guy's doing like no damage. Whatever he's firing at me with. Let the armor regen kick in. Look at it fly up.
Point Alpha.
Just watch the armor here.
You're in complete control.
Just flying up.
Victory is near. Don't let up now. I'm sending you a specialization supply drop.
If they're still spawning here or not, let's go find out. Never mind, we're finished. There we go, so that's the build. Please do let me know what you think in the comments. We'll have a quick look at the stats at the end of the game and see how well we perform there. I probably would have gotten a lot of points because I did a lot of captures, and I should really have spent more time just showcasing the build, so apologies for that. But, you know, I always go into full win mode when I'm playing Conflict, whether I'm with my team or not, and of course capping points is what wins in domination. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think this is a bit too complicated for an entry-level build? Do you think it's kind of the right sweet spot? Have I gone too hard with armor and not enough with DPS? Oh, I think it's the perfect hybrid between the two, but you know, this is only my opinion. It's not fact, and some people might say, well, no, just go full DPS, because ultimately the more DPS you have, the more kills you'll get, and that isn't wrong. But I know in the Dark Zone, 6 red builds aren't as common as high armor regen builds, and this is just that nice, beautiful hybrid. So we finished on 9 kills, 1 death and 4 assists with 6 captures, which feels like a pretty good game. Unfortunately, we did quite dominate our opposition, which is a shame. I was hoping for something a bit more close there, but never mind. It was a good showcase of the build. Thank you very much if you did watch the video through to the end, and thank you for the continued support of the channel. Please do like and subscribe if you like the content. I mostly release PvE builds, PvP builds, and exotic and named item reviews. But until then, I will see you all in the next video.